Right. Coming to the mixer, which is the most popular in the refractory industry, and that is your intensive mixer, and pioneered and developed by Irish. Now, you're all familiar with this, and we would just kind of understand why this mixer is so popular with the refractory industry. So, a quick look at the construction of this equipment. We have a rotating mixing pan that continuously transports the material to the mixing tool. In the center, you see there is a mixing tool. There is an arrow showed in red. That's the high-speed mixing tool. Whereas the bowl and the arrow showed in blue shows that in the exactly the opposite direction, the vessel also rotates. So you have the vessel rotating in this case in a clockwise direction, and you have the high-speed mixing tool rotating in the anti-clockwise direction, thus introducing a counter flowing current of material with high velocity differential. Why have they inclined the entire vessel? Well, because you want some kind of a vertical flow as well. If this construction was horizontal, you would no way be able to generate the kind of vertical flow rate which can be seen, with those the yellow arrows which are shown. And it also shows that there is a scraper, a wall scraper and a bottom scraper, which ensures that material doesn't deposit on the walls or the bottom surface, and accelerates material discharge at the end of the mixing cycle. So when the material is to be discharged, that scraper comes in handy. And these are, as I said, the most commonly used mixers. You can have both the counter current as well as the cross current flow pattern of the cross current principle and flow pattern of the counter current principle. Both are shown in the bottom left. Let's look at the advantages, with these intensive mixers. So with the modern paddle or intensive mixers, it is possible to optimally mix the material having different mineralogical setups and different grain sizes. So that's what is achievable. The important thing in an intensive mixer is that even with dry mixing operations, it causes an irreversible grain separation after a certain mixing time. Now, we talked about segregation taking place. In the case of intensive mixer, with the way the mixer has been built, you can achieve an irreversible grain separation. With the intensive mixer with inclined mixing container, there is a counter current mixing operation, and this ensures that there is no segregation. So primarily the entire design ensures that we can handle materials of different grain sizes. We can ensure that there is no segregation because the grain separation here is irreversible. The big advantage, and that is something which makes it so popular. We looked at the other solid mixers and we saw that the clearance between the mixing element and the vessel was, in the case of Sigma, it is 1 to 2 millimeters. In the case of ribbons, it was 3 to 6 millimeters. In the case of a plowshare mixer, it will be typically around 3 millimeters. So the mixing tool works in close clearance to the mixing wall, and as a result, there can be a lot of friction and a high wear. So the maintenance for those equipment, especially for refractory and materials which tend to be abrasive, are high. In the case of an intensive mixer, the mixing tool which is at the center does not work in close periphery of the vessel, and because of which the friction is less, the wear out is less, and we can operate at high speeds. And what we are ensuring is, with the pan rotating, we are actually compensating for the fact that we don't have a low clearance. So that is a big advantage of the intensive mixer. We also talked about the pan mixer, which is used in the refractory industry. So what you see here is a Tekka pan type mixer. This refractory machine for abrasives are designed to produce a homogeneous mixture in a short time. The mixing pan floor and the outer walls are protected by exchangeable wear-resistant liners. We believe we are also using hard-offs liners for our applications. The spring-loaded mixing arms are mounted in the rotor head and are adjustable to compensate for wear. This plus the various angles of attacks of the paddle enhance the mixing effect, reduce wear, and protect the drive from shock. So these are mixers which are popular. We discussed the plowshare mixer being used in refractory industries. We discussed about the double paddle mixer. We talked about the Sigma mixer in tap hole clay. We talked about the gravity blender, the drum blender being used for some applications. So besides the mixers that we discussed, these are the other